Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. It is Harry Cruz here, and today we're going to be continuing our playthrough through the Fighting Fantasy Gamebook series, the Citadel of Chaos, Book 2. So without further ado, if I can find the book, we shall continue. Brilliant. So, just to remind you, we've now entered the actual Citadel itself. We were through the courtyard in part 1 for quite a while. We drank some milk in this temple church outside, and we had to face a tentacle as well on the way into the centre here. And this rhino guard seems to have let us in as well. He believed the story of us having to tend a someone in the Citadel as a herbalist. That was our cover story. So he seemed to have believed us. So he's let us in now as the description says, beg your pardon. So I hope everyone's doing well today. Obviously this is our character here, Lord Cruz. Our stamina is full at the moment at sort of 22, which is very, very high, and same with our skill. But as you can see, our luck is actually yes, it's quite low. It's only at 6 at the moment, so actually we're a little bit struggling on the luck side of things. Hopefully we won't need to have to use that very often on this story. But we have got a scroll of luck, which increases our luck by 4 points, and a scroll of stamina 2. And as you can see, we've got magic as well. And just to remind you of all of the kind of what each of them means. The ESP scroll, basically we can attack the mind of our foes. Scroll of strength is self-explanatory. The scroll of fire, we can light torches and also shoot fireballs with them. We've got 2 of those. Scroll of weakness, it weakens the creature that we're facing. Scroll of creature copy, we are literally just copying the creature in front of us. Scroll of fool's gold, you create fake gold basically. Scroll of levitation, you levitate. And the scroll of shielding, we boost our defense more so. And the scroll of illusion, we create some sort of illusion effect which helps us escape. Of course, we've got our usual sword leather armor, and we've got backpacks to carry our stuff in, as well as our lantern for darker areas. So without further ado, let's go to our next section then. Okay, let me read this again for you. So, the guard believes your tale and lets you in with a grunt. You are in a narrow hallway now. This continues for several meters and ends in a doorway. Halfway along the passage, you can see an archway where some steps lead downwards. Will you go forwards towards the door, or will you creep down the steps? Well, seeing as we're not meant to be in the Citadel ourselves, really, yes, the guard did let us in. But I think if we try and avoid people, the better. So I think if we go down the steps, it might be a good idea. The Citadel, of course, it could be multiple floors, but my gut is creeping down the steps is a good idea. Okay. You follow the stairs downwards. The air is cool and stagnant. At the foot of the stairs is a door. Will you try the door, or will you return up the stairs and investigate the door on the ground floor? Well, we've gone down the stairs. Let's try the door. The door is locked. You may try and break it down by charging it with your shoulder, or you may cast a strength spell on yourself and try and wrench the door off its hinges. Okay. What do I reckon we should do, guys? We've got a risk here, probably, I imagine, of losing possibly skill or even stamina points if the door is... if we can't charge it without a scroll. But I reckon, given our skill being so high, I reckon we should try it without the scroll first and seeing if we can do it. So let's see what happens. As you hit the door, the wood cracks a little but does not give. You try it again, and this time the wood splits down the middle. You break your way in through and enter the room behind it. So in this case, we didn't actually need a spell at all to use to get through the door. So it's about assessing the situation and to think whether we actually do need the spell or not. Because the strength spell actually gives us almost brutal strength, so really strong. But from what the description, from what it said previously, it sounded as though the door wasn't incredibly strong. It wasn't like hard oak. There was no description of the door being unusually, resistant. So I thought, yeah, let's just give it a go. Right, let's continue. Oh, interesting. Okay, we've got some sort of... Is it goblin person? Levitating? Gotta be careful then if he's magical. Okay, you now stand in a large round room. It is lit by a single torch fixed into one wall. There is no furniture in the room, save for a rough wooden table and a chair in the centre. Hovering above the table, fast asleep, is a very small man dressed in a green shirt and pantaloons. He cannot be more than a metre tall, and you cannot believe that he is still asleep after your noisy entrance. You hear a creak and turn to your right in time to see a small catapult fire a missile of some sort straight at you. It's going to hit you unless you use a shielding spell. If you choose to use the spell scroll, turn to 192. If you cannot or will not, turn to 359. Small catapult fire a missile of some sort at us. If it's small, I don't imagine it would cause too much damage, and even if it does cause quite a bit, we're still fairly strong anyway. 22 stamina. Now, it might be a paralyzation or something like that, but if the guy's asleep, it shouldn't be a problem. We'll just have to wear off the spell. It's probably used for some form of intruder or something, but let's see what happens if we say no. Because I'm really trying to, as you probably can gather, I know we've got quite a few scroll spells here, but I'm trying to save the spell scrolls where possible. Where possible. So that's not. Okay. You try to duck but cannot avoid the full impact of the missile, which hits you on the forehead and splatters all over your face. You brace yourself, waiting perhaps for an acidic reaction to take place, but the mushy liquid merely drips off your face onto the ground. Cautiously you test it, first with your finger and then with your tongue. You have just been hit by a ripe tomato. You turn to face a sleeping figure who is beginning to stir. Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? But I think if it's a tomato, you've got to think, what is the character of this person going to be? A tomato isn't very dangerous, so is this guy dangerous? Probably not. If he really wanted to attack us or kill us, he probably would have done so already. Okay. Cautiously, you approach the little man. As you get close, a single eye opens and looks you straight in the face. A wide grin spreads between the creature's ears and he disappears. "Good morning to ya," says a chirpy little voice behind you, and you swivel round to see him standing there, still grinning. "I'm Wilsemus, the leprechaun," he chuckles, and holds his hand out to you. He seems friendly enough. Will you shake his hand, try and befriend him, or will you draw your sword? Well, if he can turn invisible and teleport, I think we probably should just try and befriend the guy, because even with our spells, I think he'd be a tough opponent to attack. So let's just shake his hand, I reckon. If we drew our sword, I mean, he'd probably, like, I don't know, paralyze us or something like that, or probably, he's a leprechaun, isn't he? Probably take our gold, I expect, or something like that. So let's just shake his hand and befriend him. Okay. You grasp his hand and introduce yourself and cry out as the nerves down your arm go numb. Osamus bursts out laughing. You lose 1 skill point as you are using your sword arm. You are becoming angry, but the little man continues to shake your hand and laugh. A laugh comes from behind you and you look around to see him floating in the air grinning. But you are still shaking his hand in front of you, or are you? In fact, you now realise you are frantically shaking hands with a stuffed dummy which is flopping around on the end of your arm as you shake it. You throw it to the ground, but it is stuck to your hand. The situation is ludicrous, and you are becoming very angry. "Just a little joke," says the leprechaun, who snaps his fingers. The dummy disappears. "Now, what can I do for you?" I like this guy. Outside of the character here. Obviously, you're quite angry, obviously, in here. So do we still draw our sword, or Do we ask him the way onwards? Well, if he can do all that stuff, personally, I think it's probably worth just getting out of here. We have lost a skill point though. We're now on 10 skill because of our hand. But this may wear off. Hopefully. Hopefully. Okay, let's ask him the way onwards. Oh, I shouldn't go this way, says old Seamus. Or Seamus. These are not pleasant parts. These 3 doors are the only way onwards. 2 of them are very dangerous and the other is very smelly. The opposite side of the room are 3 doors. One has a brass handle, one has a copper handle, and one has a bronze handle. Which will you choose? If you try the brass handle door, turn to 207. If you believe the copper handle door is the best choice, turn to 22. Or if you prefer the look of the bronze handle door, turn to 354. Or ask Osamus for his advice, turn to 68. Well, I think there's no harm in asking for advice before we make a decision anyway. And 2 is very dangerous and 1 is very smelly. Okay, let's ask for his advice. Okay, which one would I take, eh? He muses. Let's see. I would not take the 2 doors to the left of the copper-handled one, nor the door to the right of the bronze-handled one. Okay. We'll pause for a moment here, because this is obviously some kind of riddle here. So he wouldn't take the 2 doors. Okay, he wouldn't take one of the doors that's 2 doors to the left of the copper-handled one. Okay. So the copper-handled one, therefore... Let me think here. 2 doors to the left of the copper-handled one, which means the copper one's on the right-hand side of the 3 doors. Nor the door to the right of the bronze-handled one. Which means the bronze-handled must be the one on the left. Because the only way it can be in the middle is the copper one, right? Yeah, so the copper one's on the right hand side. The bronze one, therefore, must be the left one. So the middle one, therefore, is the bronze. So we should go for the bronze one. 354. You open the door and step into another room, glad to have left the annoying little creature behind. Turn to 188. I think I'm right with my deductions there, because he said that, you know, it's just logic. You just got to think, right, okay, so it's not going to be that one or that one, it's got to be that one. So a sudden intense flash of light bursts out in front of you. You shield your eyes and then rub them, but you cannot see. Panic hits you as you hear a low growling noise. Padded footsteps come closer, and you cry out in pain as this unusual creature roars and embeds its sharp teeth in your leg. What will you do? Use a strength spell, try a weakness spell scroll, or draw your sword to slash out at the creature. Okay. Let's try using our sword first. You slash about madly with your sword but cannot hit the creature. Either it is extremely quick or has no solid body for you to hit. Its teeth are now tearing at your flesh and you can feel blood on your leg. You'll have to protect yourself with magic or face certain death from this unseen creature. Okay, let's try the weakness spell scroll then. You cast your weakness spell. You wait for the creature's strength to fade, but as its teeth continue to maul you, you are dismayed to find that its attack is becoming more ferocious. You cannot feel your leg now. The pain is intense. You feel faint and lose consciousness as the jaws close on your throat. Oh wow, okay. We are still alive apparently. Okay. You awake and look around. As your memory returns, you are amazed that you can see. Your leg feels tender, but it is uninjured. You hear a small chuckle coming from above you, and suddenly the whole thing makes sense. Floating above you is Seamus, now laughing loudly. The whole thing has been one big practical joke. You are enraged and leap to your feet. But as you glare at this funny little man rolling about the air in hysterics, you cannot help but see the funny side too. You chuckle, then giggle, then laugh loudly. For some time the two of you roar with laughter until tears stream down your faces. When you both are able to control yourselves, you eventually settle down to chat. He is a pleasant little man. Before you leave, he says, "Indeed you are good sport. Your way ahead is fraught with danger though, but perhaps these will help you." With a wave of his hand, a sword and plate appear on the table. This sword is a magical battle sword and increases your skill by 1 point during battle. The plate is in fact a silver mirror of fine workmanship. You take these with you, but you will have to leave your old sword behind. You bid Osamus farewell and leave the room. Which door do you leave by? The brass handled, the copper handled, or the bronze handled door? Okay, let's review. Sorry, big one. Let's review our skill. So we've actually claimed our skill back from what we lost of the arms. So we've actually got 11 skill again now, which is great. A magical battle sword, which will probably be really good against anything that requires magical weapons, like vampires and things, like in the previous book. So we've still got 6 left, which is still quite low, but we have used our weakness spell, obviously thinking that was a real situation there. So again, it's actually been quite a few situations like the door and the tomato where we didn't actually need to use a spell at all. So if we do continue, it's always worth, it's definitely worth having a look at that again. So I think for the time being, I will not put a bookmark here for now, just in case we want to kind of go through that again, but this time not using certain spells perhaps. But I will kind of gloss through the, especially if we've done it, the entries like 3 or 4 times, I'll just gloss through it and give you like a bare bones context of what's happening there, because I don't want to read through the entries too many times to you, because you probably know it already. So, but I reckon we should continue doing the bronze handled door, because he still gave us some good advice. So let's try bronze handled door. The door opens into a passageway. You follow the passageway onwards for some time, and it twists and turns through the rock. You pass another passageway, joining from the right, and carry straight on. Eventually, the path widens out. Turn to 90. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, interesting. Got some sort of woman there with some clothes. Huh. The passageway widens, and you are now walking alongside a flowing river. Just ahead, a woman seems to be washing clothes. She has a basket of these clothes beside her, and several sets of long johns are hanging on the line behind her. What will you do? Draw out your sword in advance and ready for a fight? To hail her and try and make conversation? Or to try using an ESP spell to find out who she is? The ESP spells, as I've specified already, they're spells which can basically read the minds of creatures. But I think it might be worth us using the spell here, just in case if we do go back to this entry, we know whether we should or should not use it. And plus, if I go back quickly, she does look quite suspect. I do not know if I would want to trust her. I don't know, that image just gives me a bit of the creeps, to be honest. Why is she washing clothes in a stream, in a cave, on her own, with 4... Where's her kids, for instance? She's on her own. It just bodes badness. I don't know. Let's try the ESP spell. You concentrate on her mind, and you are shocked to find that she is not alive, as she seems, but has been dead for many years, ever since a raging fire, a curse put on her by Balthorus Dyer himself, for failing to launder his robes in time for an important meeting, burnt her and her children to death. God, that is dark, isn't it? Her ghostly body has been doomed to wash clothes for eternity. She is indeed a miserable wretch. You now notice that she is growing angry and suspicious of your presence. She is chanting something under her breath. You need to act fast. If you wish to attempt talking to her, turn to 21. Or, to try moving quickly past her along the path, turn to 221. Let's try and chat to her. Okay. What brings you to these parts? She demands. You tell her your story, carefully avoiding telling her of your real mission. She advises that if you know any magic, you should flee from this place. The creatures you have met so far do not compare with those you will come across within the Citadel Tower itself. Okay, so we're not actually in the tower yet, we're just probably on the ground floor, you know, not actually not on the ground floor, are we? But like a floor below the ground floor, so... She tells you that you will never meet the Master without finding the fleece first, and bids you luck on your mission. You add 2 luck points for the information you have learned, and continue onwards. Oh, brilliant. So we're now back, I think, to full. We're back to 8 out of 8. Excellent. Turn to 6. The path runs along the river for several meters, and then cuts back into the rock. You follow the path for some time. Turn to 367. Okay, well what I'll do, guys, I'm going to actually quickly place a bookmark here. I know we've used a couple of spells which we may not have had to have used necessarily. The ESP spell for one. It seems like the ghost was actually quite friendly despite her horrible fate of herself and her children, but she's clearly doesn't like the Master here at all at the Citadel. So we found ourselves an ally to an extent despite her not being alive and being undead. But let's continue anyways. I've put a bookmark in place just so we've got one and we know where we are. Alright, so let's continue. Somewhere along the passage, you arrive at a 4-way junction. You take a path to the north. I believe that's the north, sorry, the bookmark's in the way. Which eventually leads you to a large wooden door. You can hear nothing by listening at the keyhole. What will you do? Will you try and open the door slowly and quietly? Otherwise, you could try charging the door down by turning to 121. Now, it's a large wooden door here. I presume it's like, you know, maybe it's a double door, maybe it's like, you know, quite a big, bulky door. I mean, I think we'll probably hurt ourselves and damage our arm possibly if we try and charge the door down. So I reckon if we try and open the door slowly, perhaps? I mean, nothing wrong with being stealthy, right? Yeah. The handle turns and you step into a dark room. Oh, okay. Doesn't sound good. Let's turn to 257, guys. Oh, what's this? Some sort of stone statue, gargoyle or something. You've got this like boulder here with some couple of chests, another block and a doorway. Interesting. Okay. You look around the room. It is lit only by your torch, although a fairly large room. It has a little furniture in it. Although a large boulder, sliced flat, resembles a table and a smaller rock forms a sort of stool behind it. In one corner, a pile of rocks are held together with mud. You cannot imagine their purpose, although they support 3 wooden chests. Then you jump with fright as your torch lights up the large creature, seemingly made of rock itself, standing by a door. It is roughly human-shaped, although somewhat larger. Its eyes are staring straight at you. You cannot be sure if it's actually seeing you, right? What will you do? Run for the other door, if you wish to attempt to speak with the creature, or if you would like to move slowly towards the boxes in the corner. Well, obviously, I think it's quite obvious that he's guarding the boxes, I think. So I reckon we should try and have a look and see what's inside them. Why would there be a stone gargoyle there if there was nothing of value inside? So my gut instinct here, guys, is actually to look at the boxes. At your first movement, the creature seems to break from its trance and step towards you. Seeing this, you may either run for the door, or defy into the room, or make for the boxes and risk taking on this silent giant. Let's go for it. Let's go for the boxes, guys, I reckon. The golem advancing towards you is a slow-moving creature, and you reach the boxes easily. You curse as you find they are all locked. As you struggle with the locks, the golem closes in on you. how will you confront this mighty creature? Will you draw your sword and fight the creature with your weapon, casting a fire spell, or using a creature copy spell to distract this beast? A good question here, because we have a magic sword now, haven't we? So this is obviously some sort of enchanted creature. It's likely that our sword, because we've got a magical one, might actually take its effects. If it was an ordinary sword, I'd doubt it somehow. And the creature copy spell would probably be the best one. It's stone as well, the golem, so a fire spell I don't think is going to make much difference. I mean, stone's quite resistant to fire, so copy spell would probably do the trick, but we've only got one of those, and we've used quite a few spells already, so I reckon we should try and draw the sword. Okay. The golem advances and slashes at it with your sword. Your weapon hits solid rock and clangs noisily. You will have to deduct 1 skill point for the duration of this fight. Obviously it isn't an ideal weapon. You must fight. Let's do this. Okay, we've got 8, it's 8 skill, so we've still got more skill than it. We've got 10 skill with the -1 and 10 stamina, so we've, still quite got an advantage there. Now, battles, just to explain very briefly, I know we've had one already in this game already, but basically highest number wins. The skill level for each player, I've got +10, he's got +8, highest die roll wins and takes 2 stamina off the opponent. We win, we got 10 plus our 10, 8 plus his 6, 14, so he's still won. And we can use luck as well to reduce damage or to increase damage, but I don't actually use that personally, especially given how much skill we have, which isn't very much, even with it being maxed out to 8. Okay, hit the golem again. Okay, and again. We are indeed triumphant. We have defeated the creature. The golem crashes to the ground and breaks into pieces. With relief, you walk over to the boxes to examine them. Which will you try to open? The first box, the second box, or the third box? Not much information on that, guys, is it? It's just numbered boxes, so it's a bit of luck here, so let's try the first box, shall we? After some struggling, the box opens. Inside it is a silver key. What would you like to do with it? Try using the key on the second box or the third box, or grab the key and make for the exit door. Let's try it on the third box, shall we? The key will not turn. No matter how hard you try, in your frustration you throw the box on the ground and it vanishes. You grope around for the invisible box but cannot feel it anywhere. In total despair, you turn towards the door and set off once more towards your goal. Damn. I just wonder if there's anything important in that box. Oh well, never mind. Let's continue. We can always come back for it. You open the door and step forward into a passageway which runs eastwards for several meters and then ends at the foot of a staircase. You climb the stairs and eventually find yourself in a narrow passageway. A short distance ahead, you can see an opening into a large, well-lit room, and you press on forwards. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, I'm going to read this entry and I think I'm going to call it here for today. I'll do one more option after this. Nicer hallway. Clearly we're getting deeper into the Citadel now. Got some knight's armour there. And some, like a long table, isn't it? The room you are in is some sort of grand dining hall. A long table, large enough to seat some 40 or 50 people, gosh that's a lot of people, stands in the centre, edged with chairs. Various doors and passageways lead from the room, but you are particularly interested in 2 wide staircases which lead upwards to either end of the balcony, overlooking the hall. Paintings and suits of armour decorate the walls, and the room is empty. What would you like to investigate? To explore the left-hand staircase upwards? The right-hand staircase upwards? Or if you want to take a closer look at the paintings, or inspect the suits of armour? Turn to either of those pages. I will choose one more option, and I think we'll call it here. So I reckon the paintings is quite an interesting one to look at. The paintings are portraits of various lords and countesses prominent in the kingdom of Kraken Rock. Behind a chair at the head of the table is a portrait of Balarus Dyer himself. He indeed looks a powerful adversary. Add 1 luck for the warning of this appearance, but lose 1 stamina point for the feeling of fear he instills. Well, I'll take 1 luck point over 1 stamina. You may now either continue up the left staircase or the right hand staircase. Now, I will leave it here for today. I will quickly put a brief bookmark here as well, alright? But don't worry, I've got, we can go to any of the bookmarks we've made anyway, in case we want to retrace our steps in any way. I reckon that box might have been quite a pivotal, important box that we missed when we had it the wrong order of the keys there, in putting it in the second box rather than the third box, but we'll see. Hopefully it was just some sort of, I don't know, miscellaneous item that we didn't need, but we'll find out, alright? But thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of the Citadel of Chaos. Please, if you like this video, it would mean so much, and I love reading these books to you guys, and it's brilliant feedback you've been giving me as well. I hope to do more of these in the future too. If you could also subscribe, that'd be fantastic too. It really would help the channel out and helping it grow and develop. I also have a playlist of self-help videos as well, and I've got a few more projects that are in the works later on, so I hope everything's it goes to plan, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos, and if there's a playlist or 2 that I've made as well, yeah, they're all on the channel. Alright, so hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, bye.